Hi, welcome to the RC.
The show that's really trying to get an aesthetic background.
This is Rachel and Connor.
So today we wanted to talk about supporting one another in a relationship. This is really a cornerstone of relationships. See, oftentimes, like we've talked about, there's going to be things your partner does or does not like that you're gonna have to put up with. But the other aspect of this whole thing is that sometimes your partner needs support, and it's so important to give it. So an example of this would be the other day. I had a talk that was 2 hours away from campus, and then it was an hour talk, and then it was a 2-hour drive back. In no way, shape, or form would anyone ever in the history of ever want to come along on that sort of an endeavor. It was 4 hours in the car. After, the day before, we had spent another 4 hours in the car for one of our friend's senior projects. So it was a long day already, and we had to get up and go to mass and leave early so we could get there, drive through the middle of the desert, through winding roads in the mountains to get down the mountain, and then sit for it. It was just a long day. But what Rachel did, which was really meaningful, was that she supported me going, not just saying, you got this, have fun, I'll be home, but by actually, first and foremost, coming along on the trip, which made it a million times better. But secondly, like, doing the smallest things, like, before the talk, she was like, okay, let's figure out where the Adoration Chapel is and let's go say hi to Jesus before this talk because you're stressed. And I was like, yes, I am. Thank you for noticing. I'm trying to disguise my stress. Or afterwards, just saying like, hey, you did a great job. I'm proud of you. And letting me like revel and like kind of cool down before saying, all right, here's what you can get better at. It's that kind of, and then also just saying like, here's what you can get better at and trying to get me into a spot where I'm like the best I can be. All those things are examples of like helping support your partner, your significant other in whatever they are doing. And sometimes that's going to come off as really annoying or obnoxious because it's like, oh, you want to be, like Rachel wants to be a writer. A lot of people would say that that is stupid, but I support her by not saying it's stupid because she's actually a great writer, by helping her however she can, by supporting her, by bringing her coffee, like any way that I can do to help support what she wants to do and who she is. Example A. Wait, is that a Ravenclaw mug? Anything that we can do to support each other is huge, and I recommend that to anyone in a relationship, supporting each other by just saying either the big things like going along with people on things or accompanying them on interviews, trips, whatever, or small things, so just by like standing, you know, if like I know that if I was about to go into another EWTN meeting, Rachel would send me like 5 million texts if she couldn't come, like, you're gonna do great, don't stress, you're gonna be fine, I love you, even if you fail. Like, it's all about that support aspect psychologically. That's such a huge help because you feel like you're on the same team instead of like constantly fighting.
And I think it's also really important when you're in a relationship to support each other because it helps you understand that person a lot more. I mean, I know, you know, everyone has their own experiences, everyone does their own thing, everyone has their own activity or their own hobby or career path, and that's totally okay. And like, you can have two completely different career paths and you can still support each other in a really healthy way. And it's not always monetary support. Like, we're not giving each other money, or, you know, we're not relying on each other to support ourselves. We are just relying on that emotional support and just like that encouragement. I think that's more powerful than any other kind of support that you could give. Yeah,
because if you can't help monetarily because you're a broke high school or college student or a young adult who's trying to pay off student loans like us, you can always just help just by like a kind word, or, you know, like one time I was busy writing stuff and so she was like, I brought you lunch, and I was like, that means more to me than she could ever, like, she handed me a bajillion-dollar bill or a car. Like, that was, it's huge because it's like,
not getting that.
It's that tiny, I don't know. That's a really good question. Can you? Is there any way?
No.
Dang it, that's awkward. Well, I'll stick with food, thank you. Way to a man's heart and all. Sometimes the smallest things can be the biggest things, and that is something that's so important to remember, because if you can do these small things every day with great love, then it's supporting people more than one giant action could ever do.
Along with that lines of like giving support, there's also can be a challenge in accepting support. I know, you know, everyone's always like, you give love and you receive love. You give support and you'll receive support. And some people I know can have a hard time learning how to receive that because they're so used to doing everything by themselves. I know for me personally, a lot of the things I've done, most of my life have been done by myself. I write by myself, I do my projects by myself, I tend to do all the work towards whatever project I'm doing.
She's a solo project workaholic.
I am. I want to do everything myself because I think that if I do it, I can ensure that it gets done right. And I want to do 800 projects at the same time. So it's really stressful, but it's what I love to do, and it's how I work. And I've had to get used to accepting help from him on different things. Lately, I've been doing a lot of different classes that aren't necessarily something I'm used to, quite a few philosophy and business classes, and those just aren't something that I'm good at, but I'm used to just kind of muscling through it and doing it anyways, and doing it a lot by myself. You know,
Which is kind of hard because, like, especially like business theory is not a simple subject.
No.
So normally her response would be,
muscle through it, work through it, figure it out, do a lot of research, do ridiculously detailed notes, organize
waste a
them.
ton of time.
And maybe it might make sense to me at some point in there.
Eventually.
But I've had to accept a lot of help from him just in some of those classes, you know, about stuff that I don't get that he really does. Like, I can't shut him out when I'm working on a script or when I'm working on a chapter. I mean, I can shut him out for like an hour. I can be like, go away, I'm gonna write. But I can't like shut him out while I'm dealing with this chapter that just isn't going the way I want, or this dialogue that just doesn't sound quite right. I can't shut him out because he's there to support me. And so even if that just means like I'm letting him make dinner while I'm writing, or having him read it out loud with me so that I can hear the dialogue and I can figure out what's right, and accepting, you know, advice or tips, or even if I'm not gonna take the things that he says, listening, because I know that he's saying these things because he wants to support me, and that's his way of encouraging me and supporting me. And it can be hard because you're used to doing everything by yourself. You're used to being independent. You're used to just doing it your way and no one else's input. But when someone supports you, you know, they become a part of it too. I mean, with you, they become invested in it. They become a part of it, and then they want to make it as good as it can be. So being open to that. It's not criticism. It's encouragement. It's support. It's
just letting go of pride almost. Because you get really, like, I get prideful in my work sometimes where I'm just like, this is how it is. But like, you have to understand your limitations, because think about it, like, if you're preparing for marriage and this dating relationship, right, you have to figure out, like, how is this other person going to complement who you are? Mm-hmm. And so with that, you have to say, okay, like, for example, I'm supposed to be doing I'm writing a screenplay for a final narrative for a production class, and I can't write dialogue to save my life. So I wrote the basic thing, and I wrote some dialogue, and she helped me punch it up. Mm-hmm. She gave me tips and said, look, here's how you can do it. And she basically gave me a crash course on how to write dialogue. I know a lot more now. Was it hard to accept that? Yes, because it's hard to accept sometimes that somebody else knows more than you, especially when it's your significant other and you're trying to be like, oh, I'm the best, let me help you. We also need to remember to receive. If we aren't receiving, then we're going to get so drained because we're always giving. It falls apart. It's, as we always say, it's a balance. It's a balance between giving and receiving. You can give 100%, but you also need to receive 100% of what they're giving you. You can't shut them out. You can't walk away. You can't be like, nope, I don't want to hear it, I'm done. Just accept it. Accept that you need help and just move on. That's really what it comes down to.
I think one phrase that I guess everyone could take with them that kind of sums all that up is, if you're willing to give, you have to first receive. I don't remember where I heard that.
But it's a great saying.
It's a beautiful, beautiful saying. And it's, if you're not willing to receive, I think I heard it in the context of God's love, which is kind of beautiful, but if you're not willing to receive God's love, you're not willing to receive the support and the encouragement of your significant other, you're not going to be able to give it, because there's going to be this divide. You're going to have built this wall. If you can't receive, you build a wall. And if you build a wall, then there's no way for you to give, because there's this wall blocking out.
Plus, if you start to receive from your significant other, it'll also help in a relationship with God, being able to say, look, I can receive from one person, now I can actually receive love and support and trust God more, because there's also a small element of trust.
And as a couple, you have to also open up your relationship to God, you know, trust that He's going to be there, bring His love in, you know, really understand.
And let someone else help you.
Yeah, it's
help.
It's okay to get, I think, you know, everyone always says it with mental health, but it's okay to get help, even if it's not something that's major. I think everyone always tries to blow everything out of proportion. They're like, oh, well, if I say I'm proud of you, you know, it's not a big thing, and that's fine. I can't always give big things.
Yeah.
Everyone receives support, and everyone gives support differently. I think a part of it is knowing what you can do, and knowing at the same time what your partner or your friend or your significant other needs. I mean, if you can know what they need and what you can give, you can find something that works for both of you.
And then you're good.
It's really beautiful. So don't be afraid to give. Don't be afraid to receive. Support is a huge thing. It's going to be the actual support beam of your relationship.
Thank you everybody so much for watching this episode. As always, if you like this video, like and share it, subscribe, hit the button down there. Follow us on Instagram, which is also down there.
Yep.
And follow us.
Twitter, which is also down there.
And don't follow us in real life because that's creepy.
Again, thank you guys so much for tuning in today and for joining our crew. And as always,
Keep it real.